Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jermaine Flores, systems engineer from Fortinet. Before I start, let me just share my screen. So I'm very excited to, of course, present to you this our solution on how to, of course, secure the hyper-connected world. Uh, First of all, I would like to, of course, thanks VST for inviting us as a key speaker, and also we also want to, thank you for joining us today on this session without borders, securing the hyper-connected world. Okay, so briefly, I'll be introducing, of course, who is Fortinet is, and next is talk about some global trends about, the trends about the hyper-connected world, some challenges, and of course the solution for it, right? The solution on how do we secure the hyper-connected world. Okay, so without further ado, let me jump in on the slide. Okay, there you go. So some introduction about us, who Fortinet is. So Fortinet's vision is to make possible a digital world to you can always trust with our mission to secure people, devices, and data everywhere. So over the last several years, Fortinet has experienced rapid growth, consistently growing faster than the industry average. Fortinet's Security Fabric platform is resonating with the enterprise customer, resulting in outstanding financial results. Okay, then Fortinet is the only cybersecurity vendor listed both in Nasdaq 100 and also in S&P 500. We offer the broadest portfolio of products in industry, providing protection across the entire attack surface. And our patented ASIC SPU technology developed from the ground up, okay, is a key competitive advantage, and that key advantage is actually extended to our customers. Okay, overall, we have 3 times more patented than our nearest competitor. So global footprint. So with our 565,000 customer worldwide, Fortinet protects some of the largest global corporation and even governments around the world. So in fact, heavily vested, no, a majority of our R&D is in the North America and Canada. Our focus has been on organic technology development, which provides the best integration between solution. Fortinet heavily invested in the Philippine market. We have local presence here, acquiring more account managers, technical guys. Also, we have local depots, so army won't be an issue. In fact, you can even engage Filipino tax support. Okay. Then now, when we talk about the hyper-connected world, it's not just about connecting applications to applications or user to data. It's about connecting them seamlessly with reliable connectivity and especially with security, right? Designing the network with security in mind. The volume of the data and transaction that this hyper-connected world generates, network are being redesigned. In just past few years, the architecture have started to evolve from the traditional old perimeter, a very simple, only protect against the threat from the outside. The principles of trust is simple as well. Inside should be trusted, then outside not, right? So the legacy way of focusing is totally hardening the perimeter. So that's the focus. And sometimes the problem here is that we don't have visibility on the corporate network, right? On the local LAN on the inside. Now, from that point-to-point connection between controlled network devices, we are now moving to a highly meshed network, right? Networks of networks. We are in a hybrid work style. Not only users and applications everywhere, but also attack surface everywhere. And current security posture is really complex, okay? But this is just the beginning, right? To keep up with the volume of data and connection, network will need to become even more automated, like software-defined networking, right? Automate the physical network to reduce the configuration error, management overhead, allowing data and resources to be accessed, okay, and move on demand. This actually translates business language into automated policy configuration, and this allows infrastructure to become more flexible and temporary, okay? So what does hyper-connected world look like? There are trends that influences the growth of hyper-connected world, adapting these 4 major key trends, that actually changing the industry. Okay, so You have, of course, the digital acceleration, the work from anywhere, the application journey, and of course, the evolving threat landscape, right? So let's drill down a bit on the digital acceleration. So based on Gartner reports that by 2025, to deliver a flexible, cost-effective, scalable bandwidth, 40% of the enterprise location will have only Internet One connectivity compared to 15% in 2021, right? Then digital acceleration created a perfect storm of complexity of managing cybersecurity and at the same time the network infrastructure. Perimeter has become more fragmented with many security teams and tools operating in silos, fracturing visibility and limiting controls, right? And applications and data are no longer contained within the corporate data center. Instead, they are reside across distributed networks, creating billions of edges, and that's need to be, of course, protected. Additional to that, the OT environment that we're traditionally separated and now connected to the business, to the OEMs, to the third parties. In fact, in 2021, the OT and IoT devices exceeded around 30 billion, and the IoT is about to experience another boost because, of course, the 5G technology. This is primarily due to the value of many enterprises today putting and producing products and services that are depends on heavily on leveraging internet connectivity, right? Soon as electric devices may seem obsolete if it does not at least allow for connecting to the internet. And of course, each of these devices, designed to collect, share, and deliver information on demand. Okay. Then the next key is of course, the work from anywhere. Probably some of you will definitely agree with the work from anywhere setup, right? Where the walls separating the home and the corporate office have eroded significantly since the COVID-19 pandemic, giving the adversaries a new and easily exploited vectors to gain, of course, the foothold in the corporate network. This increases the risk as many of home networks are poorly, of course, secured. Okay. As a result, moving from work from anywhere has rapidly expanded the attack surface, which traditionally network security finds it hard to protect. And work from anywhere is, of course, here to stay, right? According to the survey conducted by Gartner in 2021, 52% of CIO expect work from home to increase, and even after the pandemic. Okay, so next is, of course, the evolving threat landscape. So cybersecurity has become, or cyber criminals become more sophisticated, widespread, and relentless. Expanding the attack surface, including the move from work from anywhere, has created a lucrative opportunity for cyber criminals to exploit old and new vulnerabilities. Okay, ransomware in particular, right, offers a low investment, high profitable model that irresistible to cyber criminals, right? Then, according to the mid-year 2021 Fortinet FortiGuard Labs Threat Landscape Report, ransomware incident increased nearly 11-fold from 2020 to 2021. And in a recent global, ransomware survey conducted by Fortinet, 67% of organizations reported having been ransomware target, and we're nearly half saying they have been targeted more than once. Okay, so multi-step attack requires a unified defense that automatically, prevent, disrupt, and limit the attack in real time. Next, of course, the application journey. Now, some of you are already, adopting what we call the hybrid cloud environment, a private and a public cloud combination, right? Deploying your application on-prem, on your private cloud, and moving it to the public cloud, or from the public cloud, moving it to the private cloud, or vice versa, right? This is actually one of the advantages, of course, of the cloud environment. And of course, there's also challenges on that side. The mitigation of multi-cloud environments, and the migration of a multi-cloud environment forces the security and risk management leaders to rethink their network security architecture. They must understand the mixed cloud native control, virtual firewalls, and physical firewalls and co-location hubs is optimal to secure the new architecture. Okay. So those are the IT trends that builds the hyper-connected world. The digitalization, the application, and the users anywhere distributing the edge. Now let's talk about some of the key challenges of this hyper-connected world. Okay. So again, from work from anywhere, an explosion of connectivity, including OT and IoT, creating billions of edges, application and it's increase. Hello, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, all good.
Okay, sorry. I'm having a problem with my. Sorry. Okay, and sorry for. Okay, so yeah, work from anywhere, the explosion of connectivity, including OT and IoT, creating billions of edges, application, and increase of sophistication of attack. So organization need to know the devices that connected to their network are safe and appropriate, right? They require visibility, consistent enterprise-grade security for this remote network while not violating, of course, the employee privacy, especially from the other user that device connected to their home network. Then the next is, of course, the network edge explosion. Applications and data are no longer, of course, contained within the corporate data center. Instead, they reside across distributed network, and billions of edges created by IoT, mobile users, devices. So network is continuously expanding. The attack surface is also continuously expanding as well. So today the perimeter is everywhere, right? Created the perfect storm of complexity for managing the cybersecurity and at the same time the network infrastructure. So legacy network security cannot be protected today. Today's distributed workforce with, of course, multi-cloud environment. So the next is, of course, the application journey. Edge computing moves applications and data closer to the users and devices. By the end of the year, 2023, 50% of large enterprise will have a documented edge computing strategy compared to less than 5% in 2020. However, the cost of doing so includes increase of deployment, operational, security complexity, and along with an even greater loss of visibility as organizations struggle to monitor regionals and local clouds on top of the hybrid and multi-cloud environment that already in place. So organization must deliver, of course, a secure digital experience across their complete application journey roadmaps. Then the sophistication of threats, right? So today, cybersecurity or cyber threats landscape continues to accelerate both the volume and sophistication, increase in demands of higher levels of automation as well as AI and machine learning models. Then again, operational technology. In the past, OT network was isolated from the enterprise, and of course, lack of security by design because the impact that some security technologies can have on the sensitive OT system. So today, the digitalization of operational processes that productivity, efficiently and responsiveness, and overall profitability gains. However, while technological and organizational convergence between the IT and OT have dramatically impacted OT network and how they are managed, protected, the new digital control and connected system have opened a new threat vectors. So those are the pain points, right? The pain points and the challenges of the organization that they are facing with hyper-connected work. Now let's talk about how Fortinet vision and technology help organization secure the hyper-connected world of an enterprise, organization, departments, or even corporation, right? So there are three important areas here, okay? The first one is the threat landscape. Now, the threat landscape is actually a bigger driver, right? Big driver for this hyper-connected world. The threat landscape, as people get attacked, right? It used to be several years ago. It is more than getting data on the data center. That's actually the focus of the target or the focus of the attackers. This day, it's more about ransomware. It's more about weaponizing using AI, right? It's more sophisticated threats with, of course, accelerating the advanced threat. Okay. Second, the convergence of network security, okay? Network and security, which Fortinet refers to as secure-driven networking, which this is really necessary as those edges becomes more apparent, and of course to support the hyper-connected world. Third, the move towards consolidation, right, of security vendors and solution to reduce complexity, accelerate the responsiveness of threat, the ability to make individual systems work together, okay, together, of course, converging this, bringing the product into one solution, meaning it will be, of course, automated and fast response, right? Now let's drill down a bit on those three items here. So the first is, of course, the threat landscape. So again, the attack surface becoming more, of course, advanced. Okay, in year 2020, there are 20K CVEs. These are vulnerabilities reported by NIS and NIST. There's also another thing is the work from home attack surface continues to expand. And another thing is the advanced persistent cybercrime, which is becoming more like advanced APT attacks, advanced persistent and targeted in nature. So attackers are, spending more time on weaponizing base of the attack framework. This is directly targeting, of course, our environment, OT environment, and corporate environment. So we are using, of course, as security vendors, we are using machine learning and AI. The attackers also use this kind of solutions. The machine learning is also in AI. That's why attacks are moving with much greater speed compared to 1 year ago, right? Using offensive automation through APIs, execution of course, of threats. Then, okay, then the next here is the convergence of network and security. Okay, so when we think about network goes back to 30 years ago. Network just, of course, got faster, right? From 1G to 10G to 45 to 25G to 40 gig ports. But really, networking is always lack of security. So it's unaware of the content of the applications. It's just trying to have a fast connection as possible. And that's why, there's a cybersecurity industry, and that's why there's a network security industry, because purely the networking was lacking of all those components. So Fortinet goals from the start is 20 years ago to bring those things together, right? To bring the networking technology and security technology into one operating system, and that's what we call the FortiOS, and that is it's actually one of the key solutions that we have. It's actually the operating system that's installed in our firewall, in our appliance, and our cloud security solutions, right? That could then even run in a different ways. Now, originally, the main focus of this operating system is actually installed in appliance, and but today, this always actually can be installed on a virtual environment, container, or even in a software as a service. Okay. So next is consolidation of security, point products vendor. So on the left side, the approach is that the cybersecurity has traditionally been deployed in one solution at a time in response to emerging threats or challenges. While each new security solution, typically from a new vendor, provides gain in security. These solutions were not designed to integrate and communicate effectively with other solutions, right? This actually puts significant pressure on the security team, and that's have to manage multiple. You have to manage multiple vendor systems and solution. Automation is difficult to achieve, and at the same time, complexity is increased. A more effective way to, of course, secure the hyper-connected world is by using a cybersecurity platform, an approach. The cybersecurity platform approach. This is consolidated point product vendor into a security mesh platform, allowing for much tighter integration, increase in automation, and more rapid coordination, and effective response to threat across the network edges and public and private cloud, or even in a work from home setup. So now that all this comes together, right? The solutions comes together and converge. This is what we call the fabric or the Fortinet security fabric. You can call it the platform as well. Gartner call it the mesh, right? The mesh solution. It consists of a product ranging from endpoints to networks to cloud, as well as the capabilities in terms of management and also security operation. Okay. Right on the center is our FortiGuard Labs threat intelligence that provide, of course, the security feeds and updates, and of course, services as well. So this is a very broad system from endpoint to the network and the clouds, very integrated. All systems under a console. They work together, and then the key long-term goal here is, of course, automation. Okay, building that capability to automate and respond to some of these fast spreading threats, but also build automation for operation, detection, and self-heal as you go forward. Okay, so it's very broad. You can have the ability to put this fabric on a different places in terms of appliance, virtual machines, and even cloud, right? And of course, it is a solution for different network and security use cases. Okay. So this is the in terms of hard or products, okay, an appliance. This is actually the broad portfolio of Fortinet. As you can see here from the users, we have, of course, protection from the users, giving you control, protection for everyone and everything on and off the network, and also security on the network side, using, of course, our security-driven digital experience, our secure networking, and also securing the application, right? Securing any application journey on any cloud, meaning on the private cloud, on a public cloud, or even, of course, an on-prem data center, with, of course, with the speed of operation with AI-powered automation. And additional to that, providing you a counter threats with coordination and protection with our FortiGuard Lab services, giving you threat feeds, security services, and readiness, of course, to respond. Okay. Now, the Fortinet ecosystem of more than 480 partners extended the breadth of Fortinet Security Fabric platform through integration with API and Fabric connection. Okay, our Fabric connectors provide a deep integration that automates security operations and policy. Our more than 266 partners provide API integration that automate networks, security provisioning, configuration, and also orchestration. Right. Additionally, we have more than 200 partners that includes threat intelligence sharing, of course, threat feeds like the World Economics Forum, Cyber Threat Alliance, NATO, and Monitor, and others. Okay. So we discussed the IT trends, the challenges, the pain points, and also Fortinet's vision and strategy, and the fabric securing, the hyper-connected world. Now, let me share to you PACE's approach, specific technologies involved from the Fortinet security fabric to secure the hyper-connected world. And that's and what we are seeing in the ground also. And also what the organization are looking at, the securing their connectivity. Okay, so it's actually security fabric in action. So the first one is, of course, adopting the SD1 or the SD branch, right? Connecting to, of course, to the cloud and adopting the digitalization. The next is, of course, the next step is to move to a zero trust network access control, right? Or CTNA type of approach when it comes to security, right? So securing the private application access and reducing the attack surface, and also chance of getting a ransom. Then, of course, enabling SASE to secure remote users traffic plus interconnect with any private apps. Okay, that not yet, of course, supported by the CTNA. Okay. So, of course, the good news is that there are several solutions today in the market to figure out every issue, right? To solve this issue, the networking, the remote, the private app, and the secure internet access. However, complex multiple vendors operate creates the security gaps. then it makes it harder to fight against with the sophistication of and popularization of ransomware or any new threats today, right? So it's going to be harder with of course multi-vendors approach. That's why consolidation is very important. Okay, so one of the key part of the first, of course, the first phase is of course the secured SD-WAN, right? So we have of course our secure SD-WAN. So this is not just about connecting you to the cloud, but also connecting your branches efficiently and effectively, connecting your user to the application that meets the SLA, and we are the only one who can do it better. So question probably, how do we do it? Well, if you look at the market today, the approach is to acquire or buy individual products, separate appliance, SD-WAN, firewall, CTNA routing. This is actually good, right? But you might also agree with me that this is not good enough, right? Because if you can imagine the cost, this requires you to buy separate boxes, individual license, renewal for each part, preparation, implementations, right? And this appliance doesn't even talk to each other. So it's not an innovative way. It's actually Jurassic, right? So what Fortinet has done is actually provides our customer solutions, a simplified architecture, right? A holistic and innovative approach by providing you a one appliance that consists of that that 5 products in one box. So you can do SD-WAN next generation firewall, and at the same time advanced routing and zero trust, right? Creating what we call the secured SD-WAN. Now the result of this is of course simplifying everything. One OS, one management, reduce the cost, and of course secured connectivity. So if you look at it in a diagram perspective, right? Usually the legacy infrastructure use MPLS, right? You spin up application, then of course there's an increase in application demand, increase in bandwidth, and increase in the cost, increase in bandwidth cost, right? Then when you spin up, of course, when the back office or the branches need to go to the backhaul to the on-premise data center to access the internet, that will also increase a bandwidth demand, right? And of course, increase cost. Same with the application, that once we spin up application in the public cloud, branches also need to access the applications, right? So this also increases the application demand and increase the bandwidth cost. Okay, same with software as a service. Okay, that also increases, of course, the application demand. Okay, increases the bandwidth and also increases the cost. So as long as you keep adding application, it will keeps, of course, increases the bandwidth cost. Then the question here is how many branches that needs to connect to your data center to access all those applications. So if you can imagine the cost of this, right, or the increase on the contract cost of the MPLS. So MPLS is good. It's actually a secure point-to-point private network and highly reliable, but it's of course it is expensive. You get limited bandwidth for what you pay. Okay, once contracts are done, and it's really not that flexible. Beyond point-to-points, no further roadmap. So how does the SD-WAN solve this? Right, actually with SD-WAN, right, we get to the cloud by just deploying what we call the secure SD-WAN appliance, which is the FortiGate firewall, right? So you can use, again, you can still use, of course, the MPLS or even internet connectivity connecting to the data center via VPN, via encrypted traffic, right? Then connect to the internet using a local breakout, meaning the branch can now directly connect to the internet, right? Then the branch can also directly access application from the public cloud, right? With and also the software as a service. So branch can now directly access all those resources. They don't need to go to the data center just to access the application. So here in this scenario, the branch can now access, of course, the public cloud, and of course we can secure it using a tunnel, the VPN, connecting the branch to the public cloud, and at the same time inspecting it, of course, by using, of course, the FortiGate firewall capability. Now this enhances the user experience, and this can be also used for the teleworkers. So if we have work from home setup where users are actually accessing applications from their home, then we can also definitely secure them, right? Yeah. This includes, of course, intelligent steering, then traffic agnostic, reliable and accuracy, including encrypted traffic, and continuous learning, right, to broadly support the 5,000 plus applications, and of course, self-healing, real-time optimization. Okay, then the secure SD-WAN, the security of the FortiGate firewall in the SD-WAN can be also extended to the LAN edge segment. Meaning on a single FortiGate, it can act as controller for your FortiAP, right? And for your FortiSwitch. So meaning the integration of FortiSwitch and FortiAP, you can use our FortiGate as a controller to manage all those equipments, or to manage all those solutions. So it's actually extending the security of FortiGates to the wireless connectivity and also to the wired connectivity. Okay. And at the same time to the public and private cloud and to the cloud edge, and also for the work from home users as well. Then single management, then to automate the design, deployment, and operation for large-scale environment, a single glass and pane, providing the network with visibility, analytics, and reporting and orchestration using our fabric management. Now with this Fabric management, this is actually, you can of course orchestrate and even configure FortiGates, firewalls, and switches and access points that are integrated to that FortiGate. So expanding the capability from the one edge to the LAN edge and as well to the cloud. Okay. So some IT outcomes, of course, the SD-WAN delivers superior quality of experience at scale, simpler and faster to secure the network and achieve operational efficiency. This is actually superior in the business outcomes, superior user experience and productivity improvement, increased business uptimes and reduced risk, and at the same time, lower TCO. Okay, so now let's talk about the second phase, is the CTNA. So once you adopt the SD-WAN and the SD branch, protecting the WAN side and of course the LAN side. Now the next phase is of course is adopting a zero trust for private application access. Now Fortinet brings a new approach in unifying access of hybrid workspace. We bring of course the SASE, the SD-WAN, inline CASB all together, and in every edge sync with our consistent CTNA posture to secure remote users, access application no matter they are software as a service or hosted in a DC or in your office. In simple terms, due to remote workers, two previous things. One is of course the VPN topology was not designed for VPN to access everywhere, right? And next is the off-net. Okay, the off-net endpoints connected to the corporate network can't be trusted. Okay, so what CTNA does is that since the new perimeter is on the basis of zero trust and CTNA, so it's time to see what CTNA and why is it needed, right? So here you can see here the four critical points to identify CTNA. One is a verify user. So with CTNA, never trust, always verify, right? So it verifies users that connecting to the corporate network. It verifies the devices. At the same time, it verifies the device health and also the least privileged access for the users. Okay. So here you can see why CTNA. Okay, why CTNA, right? Why adopting CTNA? Here you can see one is the borderless network. So borderless network is really appropriate for hyper-connected world, right? Meaning multiple edges, work from home setup, work from anywhere setup. The next is reduce the attack surface. Of course, it reduces also the attack surface, protects against the ransomware, and support cloud migration, and of course, easy ease of use, right? So this is actually really hitting our the use case of and challenges that we talked about earlier. Okay. Then the zero trust components elements. So the zero trust has 5 core elements. First is the device, right? So here the device, the zero trust, of course, provides you visibility and control. Identify and authenticate the device, whether to authorize the device or BYOD, approve for access or revoke. Then user identity should be, of course, verified. User should be verified using a multi-factor authentication or role-based access control at the same time. And of course, a posture check, right? Adaptive and conditional access, securing compliance, and device vulnerability. And at the same time, application access, right? Verify application access, application specific, meaning providing specific applications to the users. Then application not be available to the internet, meaning internet cannot be, anyone from the internet cannot be access the applications. An end-to-end encryption, meaning every session should be encrypted, so data should be protected. All communication, of course, should be logged, right? So Fortinet Zero Trust in action. Here you have, let's say you have a device, user, right? You have what we call the FortiClient endpoint security. So once the device and users is registered to the EMS, then the EMS will forward the information, right? The certificate and the information of the users and the device information to all the FortiGates, right? For FortiGates hardware to the SASE and FortiGates in the cloud, right? So once the user tries to, access the resources, the application, the first thing that it will do is first it will validate the device, right? It will check the device. Then the second, it will verify the user. Then the third, it will check the device posture. If the antivirus is dated, if the applications are compliant. The next, applications access only, meaning providing only the specific applications to the users and not the full domain address of the full subnets, right? Then at the same time, encrypting every sessions, meaning for every session, for every application, it will recycle this process and encrypt every sessions. Okay, so making it more secured and reliable, so user can just click the application and automatically access the application. So they don't need to select what VPN sites, what data center. They just click the application and that's it. It will just forward the user to the applications and validate, verify, check the posture, provide the specific applications only, then encrypt the session. Okay. So with Fortinet CTNA, probably the question here, what is the component of CTNA? Well, it's very basic. You just need the firewall. You just need the FortiGate firewall, the FortiOS 7.0, right? Once you have that, and you also have the FortiClient endpoint security, right? The endpoint EPP, then automatically you can enable CTNA on the fly, right? You can adopt the solution, right? The CTNA. Again, with CTNA, the client is already an endpoint security, meaning it's already protecting your user. And at the same time, all traffic that goes from the user to the application are also inspected by the FortiGates, okay? So making it more secure, right? So we're leveraging the endpoint security, and at the same time, the firewalling, the inspection of the FortiGate to the data center, right? To the public cloud, to the SASE, and FortiGate for, let's say, a secondary data center or the private cloud. So at the same time, of course, we can use authentications, right? Third-party integrations for multi-factor authentication, and at the same time, you can also use Forti Authenticator, Forti Token, our solution for MFA. Okay. So SASE supports CTNA. So our SASE supports, of course, our CTNA in FortiOS 7.2. FortiSASE to be a CTNA controller for all the CTNA use cases. So meaning not only for secure internet SaaS, also for application in DC, and infrastructure as a service, all based on the FortiOS everywhere strategy and network and security convergence approach. Okay. Now, FortiOS everywhere. Again, as I mentioned, FortiOS is one of the key components of our solution in, of course, securing the hyper-connected world. On the next slide, this looks like actually looks like a topology diagram. It's not really meant to be that level of technical, but more on just explaining the FortiOS everywhere really means. Now, clearly showing a traditional enterprise, right? Pre-pandemic with no remote users or minimum remote VPN access. So the first thing obviously is to, of course, secure those remote users. Now that they move off net, the perimeter firewall is essentially gone, right? And you need to secure all their internet-bound traffic. And by deploying SASE, for example, right, which is what the current FortiSASE is doing, it's doing the perimeter firewall for all those remote users and of course inspect traffic. And then now that's now in place, you kind of see what FortiOS means. No, that means that the FortiOS is on the premise of the FortiSASE in the public cloud, also in the data center. And the first thing that brings here is really the native integration capability. So if you got multiple vendors here instead of a single FortiOS, you're going to be going to configure, bring together, or try to establish VPN, GRE tunnels, and it's going to be creating even other challenges. So on the other hand, when you talk about SASE linked with your SD-WAN networking, this is something that part of the our FortiOS already. It has the ability to integrate natively, optimal, and of course most efficient way. Now the next thing which the FortiOS brings is the unified policy. Okay, this is where customer face most of the challenges. If managing multiple vendors and a lot of these different location, multiple management console, multiple logic that they have to put in place. And unified policy means really that in a single true pane of glass, you're able to manage all of this location in the future. Then the next is unified posture. All the endpoints in the network checking in a single pane of glass, and the posture information identifies really how secure that endpoints and provision out to the different location. And as you go forward within this single pane of view, really moves in towards more on intent-based distributed base access control method. Now you're starting to look at policy and securing, inspecting on the attributes level of the endpoints and also the application, and not by just a traditional IP address and ports. So the SD-WAN with FortiSASE approach, the SD-WAN CTNA and FortiSASE approach, and the FortiOS enables you to protect users, data, application, whether residing in the cloud, the public and private, or in any edges. Doesn't matter where the application or the user or the data resides, right? So you have a single policy, single response, SD-WAN built in. Okay, so if you have a FortiGate, you can enable that on the fly, built in. And if you have FortiClient, you can enable CTNA built in, right? So a combination of the FortiGate firewall and at the same time, the FortiClient. If you have those, solution, the EPP and the FortiGate and SD-WAN, you can enable on the fly the CTNA. And of course, with our FortiGuard Lab services and our solution provides you the best practice that's already built in on the on our solutions. Okay. So the Fortinet advantage, one of those is that Fortinet is actually one of the most deployed firewall in the industry. Okay, over 1/3 of the firewall ships, right? So that's around 37%. Okay, we're actually recognized by leaders across the SD-WAN and network firewall. So we are leaders in 2021 Magic Quadrant for WAN Edge Security Infrastructure. And at the same time, we're visionaries in the LAN access infrastructure. and leaders in network firewalling. We are actually the vendor that achieve both, both in one leaders in one edge infrastructure and at the same time in network firewalling. So converging security and network, right? And at the same time, and you get the best of breed, right? For both worlds. And right now we're moving into, of course, securing the LAN segment. So it's not just the perimeter, it's not just the one side, but also extended that security to the LAN. Okay. Now, of course, providing you the FortiGuard Labs services from Fortinet's elite cybersecurity threat intelligence and research organization. So we develop and utilize leading edge machine learning and AI technologies to provide customer with timely and consistently top-rated protection and actionable threat intelligence, right? With, of course, the collaboration of our partners, with, like, for example, the likes of Cyber Threat Alliance and World Economics Forum. Okay, and the services of the FortiGuard Labs is actually distributed to our appliance, right? Firewalls, whether firewalls for the emails, ADC, NDR SOC platform, and even proxies. So it's the services actually distributed. So when we talk about products, we should always also consider the services, right? So here in every products that we have, there are also services and, of course, threat intelligence and feeds. Okay, so FortiCare delivers expert assistance throughout the product lifecycle to ensure efficient, effective deployment, operation, maintenance for each Fortinet deployment. So world-class team, over 1,400 network and security expert working 24/7 to assist. Offer a complete portfolio of service to help you in every step along the way, right? Whether you are migrating to Fortinet, upgrading the latest software release, or more powerful appliance, right? Okay. So some key validations, recognitions and validations. We are actually recognized, but of course, Gartner in the Magic Quadrant by our network firewall SD-WAN, LAN and wireless endpoint, and also Forrester. We are recognizing also Forrester, IDC, and other. Okay, and of course, we are also ensuring, of course, regulatory compliance. Okay, with the likes, of course, information security, governance, regulation, and of course, product certifications. Okay. So in summary, the explosion of digitalization, work from anywhere, application journey, and cybersecurity landscape, creating a hyper-connected world, continuously expanding the network edge and attack surface. To respond to these new challenges, network and security also need to change. Traditional isolated security devices operate at the edge of a network, or network segments were never designed to deliver the protection that this new hyper-connected network requires. The Fortinet Security Fabric and its first security architecture approach designed to, of course, to see, respond to sophisticated threats, automatically adapts to distributed, and changing networks, and provides the power to need to keep up with the growing data, user demand, and of course, edges. Okay, so that's it for me, everyone, and thank you for listening.